Sorry. I'm just saying.
Yes, good morning. Okay. So
See,
I
screen
do
share.
see that the record button is active. I'm just confirming that from my operator malfunction from last week. All righty. Amy and Brian from Family Matters, we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Really looking
Thank you.
forward to what you're going to share with us today. So I think we'll just go ahead and get started since we're ready. And then it just takes a while for people to get logged on, but they'll just catch up with us.
Yeah, no worries. So should we kick it off?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Julie and Skip, for inviting us. We're super excited to present our company and our services, and hopefully to be an ongoing resource, for any of you. So our company is Family Matters in Home Care. So what we do is provide non-medical caregiving support at home. So I'm just going to assume nobody knows what home care is. I'm going to keep it very elementary, just so I can bring you kind of up to speed with what we do and how we service seniors in the community. So we are a private organization. So if you have, let's say, mom has a stroke, she ends up at Stanford Hospital, she's coming home and she needs support with her mobility, maybe her personal care, maybe she needs help with transportation. We definitely can jump in to support. We have registered home care aides. Is the official title. So our caregivers are able to support all of the activities of daily living. And then we also support seniors who are maybe just looking for some minimal assistance. Maybe it's preventative care. And I would say mainly, the bulk of our clients, are aging in place at home. So we're generally providing care in the home setting, although we do work with different assisted living, independent living, memory care communities, as well as skilled nursing facilities and hospitals. So we do also provide care within the facility setting. So both within the home and within facilities. We provide anywhere from a 4-hour shift. So again, minimum assistance would be maybe a 4-hour shift a few times a week. And then we provide up to 24-hour care, where, typically the client's going to be pretty dependent on our services to remain in place at home, with a quality of life, in a safe environment. Sometimes we are partnering with home health, which is more of like a nursing service that's coming in. Sometimes we're partnering with hospice. So we definitely have different partners within the community whom we work with, to support mainly seniors at home. We cover a broad territory. So we cover everywhere from San Mateo County to Santa Clara County, out through the East Bay, Santa Cruz County, and then we have an office in San Francisco, Roseville, so the Sacramento area, as well as San Diego. So I do want to kick it off. That's a little bit about what we do. I do want to give you a little insight into kind of who we are as a company. I know, it's a saturated industry. There's a ton of options out there, but I do think we really have some differentiators in being a family-owned company.
To interrupt you, but we're not seeing your slides.
We're gonna show a video.
Oh, okay.
So Brian,
So we're
Brian's
even,
gonna kick it off.
We're just looking at a black screen.
We're gonna show a quick 3-minute video.
Perfect.
It's our founder video, and then we're gonna jump into some slides. So I will let Brian hit it off. It starts pretty quickly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Carol, the founder of Family Matters, and I'd like to share a little bit about how we got started. Family Matters in Home Care didn't just happen overnight. It's the result of years of hard work and a passion for helping others. It all started when I became a volunteer candy striper at El Camino Hospital. I enjoyed the hospital work so much that I decided to go to CNA school, earning my certification. Over the years, I worked throughout the hospital, ending my journey on the cardiac unit, all while raising my 3 sons. I continued on working at the hospital and then worked for a doctor's office and some home health agencies. And what made me decide to do private was this gentleman, Don, that I met. He said, "Carol, will you come and take care of my wife?" And I took care of his wife up until her passing. And on her dying bed, she said, "Carol, do you promise that you'll take care of my husband?" I took care of him for 13 years. And in the meantime, I got a couple other clients. And I used to take my grandchildren over there with me. It brought smiles to their faces. In the beginning, it was just me and a few friends helping out. I mentioned to my sons that I wanted to grow the company, but needed their help. Together, my sons and I poured everything we had into building Family Matters. We worked hard to grow Family Matters into what it is today. When we're hiring caregivers, it's very important to me that they're kind, considerate, and in it for the right reasons.
It was very easy to choose Family Matters. That personal care and that communication back and forth, it made all the difference.
Having that human connection is just, it's vital. Getting to care for those that cared for the younger generations and give it back, I think, is something really important.
You're comfortable at home. You're familiar with your home. You're familiar with your surroundings. And I couldn't ask for any better service or help. They're like family.
Having in-home care as opposed to assisted living, you get to know the person, they become family. You get to know their habits and you get to know their family. Yeah, our company is called Family Matters for a reason. I'm beyond grateful to everyone who encouraged and taught me through the years. Thank you for being part of this journey.
Okay, I like to show that video. I think it is a good representation of who we are as a company. A lot of the people you saw at the end there in the video are still part of our company, ranging from our management team to actual caregivers who are working in the home. So I do like to show that because I think it's really important to know that our family name is on the company. And if you get a chance, check out our reviews because we do have 5-star reviews between Google and Yelp. So I think that's really important when people are choosing a home care agency for their family members. So I want to jump into the next part of this presentation. Just a few different slides here, just in terms of kind of where things are at with home care, you know, our population, senior care in general. So it's all going to be out, listed out here. So evolving in home care, and it's definitely a changing landscape. So we're going to talk about meeting the moment with urgency, establishing our identity and values, scaling to meet growing demand, supporting our referral partners, and building the future together. Okay, so I just like to give a few statistics here because I think this is really interesting just to take a look at these different numbers. So looking back in 2025, 58 million, you know, is what the senior population was. And by 2050, we're looking at about 82 million seniors. So it's a big, big jump. 90% of older adults want to age at home. And the home care market will more than double by 2033 from 162 billion to about 381 billion. So there are a lot of us out there, but we're definitely a needed organization to keep seniors safe and living at home. The demand is outpacing supply. So we're going to need about 718,000 new caregivers annually to be able to meet the current demand. And I do like to touch on, one of the biggest challenges within this industry is going to be staffing shortages. So, especially in the Bay Area where, right, it's very expensive to live. It is hard to keep caregivers on board and kind of, being able to live here and, pay the rent and still, be successful within their job with different seniors. So we really try to find a way to keep our caregivers on board with us. And usually that means competitive pay, being able to give them full-time hours with clients. So we do have ways, that we really try to avoid caregiver turnover, but that is going to be one of the biggest challenges within the industry. So through Family Matters, our solution is a smart, scalable home care partner with the people, infrastructure, and relationships to deliver exceptional care. So establishing our identity and values. I won't jump too much into this because we just saw the video, but the three of the main individuals you saw there is going to be Jacob Lafine. So he's actually our co-founder and CEO. So he actually sits in our office where we are today in Campbell. So he's here daily. He helps with the daily operations. His mom, Carol, who was the primary person in that video, she essentially founded the company and she still helps with some of the care management down in the Santa Cruz area. And then James Lafine, the other son of Carol, is part of our company as well. And he does care management and some of our business development in some of the different areas. Just going back to some additional information on our company. So we were founded in 2002. So we've long-standing agency and we're ready to meet the rising demand for care as the demographics shift. I will say, and we kind of talked about this with Julie and Skip before we got going, but we do have investors behind us. So we are looking to grow and scale. And we've done some work there in the last year. We've opened the San Francisco office, and we have another office in Marin. So we are looking to grow the business to be able to support families, hopefully at some point outside of California. I think that's the goal. So we're basically shaping our best practices and laying out the groundwork for the future of home care. And then we're scaling to meet the growing demand. So we have an expanded caregiver network, which I talked a little bit about already. So one thing that I think is key within our organization is our ability to staff rapidly. So we work with a lot of different skilled nursing facilities and hospitals in the area. And I think one thing that is really important to those referral sources is kind of our ability to move quickly and our turnaround time to get care in place. So that is something that we're able to do usually within 24 to 48 hours. And then we have investment in systems and staffing to ensure seamless coordination and dependable care coverage. So we do have a staffing and recruiting team that works daily to onboard new caregivers, and then to also help with different trainings that we have available to keep our caregivers well informed and equipped to handle the different levels of care that we provide. And then tech-enabled efficiency and communication to keep care seamless and responsive. So I think just being in Silicon Valley, families, are on the move. They're really busy. So we do have different systems, including the platform that we use for our staffing. We have a family portal where families are able to see the schedule that we're providing. They're able to review their invoices virtually. We have a separate dementia training where we have an app that families can utilize and access additional support. So we are, I would say, a tech-forward company as well. I kind of mentioned this about different trainings. So one of our differentiators is going to be our All is Better program. I won't dive too deep into all of the details, but we do a very specific dementia training with all of our new and existing caregivers. The program is called All is Better. It is approved by the Alzheimer's Association, and it's a resource for both our caregivers and family members who are maybe struggling, with, a family member or loved one with dementia. So this offers some additional support, training, different resources just to, for our caregivers to overcome challenges, and then for our families to also become more knowledgeable about dementia and everything involved. And then in innovating what's next in senior care, we're backed by industry awards for both service and team culture. And then again, the specialized dementia and complex care training equips our caregivers to handle the most challenging situations. And then I think this really pertains, to being part of this conversation today, just kind of our network within the community. Yes, we provide home care, but we also support families with other services that they might need and just don't know how to, reach out and find the right resource. So sometimes we do the work for them. So vetted partners across health, legal, and financial fields. And I think for this, specific group, right, we might, learn that one of our clients is, going to be moving to an assisted living community in the next 6 months, and the family's looking to sell everything in the home and sell the house, right? So that's where we would maybe provide, well, hey, I've been in touch with this great realtor. It's from a networking group I'm in. Let me get you connected. Or maybe, dad's dementia is, really progressing, and now the daughter needs to get a letter of incapacity and needs to get all of the finances in place so that she can take over as POA. So there's different scenarios that we run into where, that's out of our scope of practice, but we do want to be the expert and be able to provide resources. So that's where, it's great to get to know a group like you, where there's different resources that we can provide to our families, because they do rely on us for a lot of things outside of just caregiving services. So I think we can go to the next slide. And then supporting our referral partners. So again, I mean, this, may be geared towards you or maybe not geared towards you, but let's just say you're out in the community, or, you run into somebody who, maybe needs home care. So we want to be that trusted care that reinforces your reputation. So I know when I'm referring a service, whether it's hospice or, fiduciary service, I want to make sure that I am sending someone's information that I trust and who's going to provide a great service. And hopefully, you would feel the same in referring our company, for home care needs. High quality care that safeguards your reputation, logistics reporting, and expert crisis management. And really, the overall goal is a stable clients with fewer emergencies. Our goal, again, is really to keep people safe at home, happy, healthy, with a quality of life, as they're aging in place. And then again, just some of the, different people we work with, within the industry. So fiduciaries, physicians, care managers, are all kind of part of our network. And then building the future together. A true partner, not just a provider. So collaboratively co-create care solutions, so tailor to each client's unique needs. So our care managers will actually go into the home or to, say, the hospital if somebody's getting discharged and going directly home, really to tailor and create a unique care plan for that specific client, so that we're really identifying the right team of caregivers to support at home. So that's one of the things we do when we are onboarding a new client. Proactive, transparent communication. So we want to make sure, that everybody within, the client's circle is informed, that there's strong communication, and then flexible staff and scalable systems adapt as the client's needs and circumstances changes. So we know that, aging is only going in one direction. So we try to work through the journey, with the client and family to help, really see what the next best step is as the needs change, whether that's staying in the home, increasing care, transitioning to assisted living community. So we try to really help the families navigate that. And again, working with different referral partners to find the best options for that specific patient. So next steps. So again, just kind of closing it out. So Family Matters, we're a trusted family legacy, future ready care. As the demands rise for home care and there's fewer caregivers out there, we're here to overcome that and to help you through it if you do have anybody needing home care support. Family-led stability proven to scale, so reliable leadership with the capacity to grow. Dementia and complex care expertise, so specialized training to manage the most challenging cases. And I will also mention, because I have Brian here with me, he is one of our care managers, and he also supports our in-person trainings at our office. So we do hands-on training with each of our caregivers as they're onboarded as new caregivers within our organization, and then also, as additional training is needed. So he's actually part of that and also leads our dementia training. So I think a lot of families want to know what type of training our caregivers have, how we're best supporting the patient. And so we do have a lot of different training sessions each week, and Brian headlines that. And then lastly, protecting your reputation and outcomes. So really the goal is for your clients to thrive and your trust stays safeguarded. So let's start with one client together. So align, who is your ideal client? What referrals or resources can we provide? Identifying, exploring a client we can support together. And I think, again, for the sake of this call, if we're looking at a potential client looking to move out of their home and sell their home, what does that process look like together? Like, how are we going to find the best solution and next steps for that potential senior? Referring, so workflow, communication pathways, and main point of contact. And then confirming, let's agree on the first action, meeting intro or resource delivery, and then following up. We'll send all promised materials and information on our agreed upon date. So this is really just going back to like our referral process and how we can work back and forth. If we have somebody that might need your services or you may need, home care, how we can best support each other. And that is it.
So how many caregivers do you have right now?
Yeah, good question. So we have, give or take, about 300 on staff. So we have a large caregiver pool.
And what are your rates like?
Our rates, yes. So our rates are dependent on a few different things. One being the level of care, another being what length of shift we're providing, and then also location of services. But our rates generally range anywhere from about 42 to 50 per hour.
What's your minimum?
Our minimum is 4-hour minimum, and then that would be a minimum of 3 days per week. And then just really quickly, something I did not mention, but I think it's really important, going back to rates, we also work with long-term care insurance. So for any clients who have long-term care insurance, we handle all of that on our end. We also are part of a group, which you may or may not have heard of, called Care Scout. It is a pretty exclusive network for clients who have any three of these long-term care company policies. It would be Genworth, MetLife, um, Genworth, and John Hancock.
Mm.
So for those three policy holders, if it's within any of those three companies, we actually offer a discounted rate through the Care Scout network. So we're one of the organizations that are part of that. And then outside of long-term care insurance, we're also a preferred provider of the VA. So if you have any veterans needing support, we actually have a way to bill hours directly to the VA.
Mhm. No, it's robust. I did over 20 years in home care. So I think you did extremely well. You presented very well and you
Oh, thank
really
you.
hit every topic. I mean, it's nothing, it's me, it's reinforcement, right? But for the, some other people, but I've been watching a lot of presentations over the last few months. So people definitely have they're syncing up. But you had a very good what's your name? Because I see it just says Brian Pham.
Oh yeah, I know I'm not Brian. I know I jumped on and it was almost like, ooh, she's not Brian. Um, my name is Amy.
Amy
Yeah.
what?
Amy ESOO.
ESO.
Yes.
Um, so it's funny to hear like the expansion because I see the competition. Like I, always have the competition hat on. And the hardest part is the caregivers. It comes down to quality. If it's like, but you know, it's a little bit of reputation. I think what this group means to me is that they recognize professional on giving as far as referrals because of like really how important it is to have a knowledge, sharing information, and being a credible and trusted advisor. That's how I
Mhm.
see this, what Julie puts together and the people that are genuinely trying to get resources and information to understand who they are referring to. But for the customer, the client, the family, it doesn't matter because they don't know one from the other. That's what's the bad news. Yeah.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. And I think, they always say you don't know what you don't know, right? And like we know the competition, right? And we know what we can provide, and it's trying to translate that to the families, right? Without kind of like bad mouthing other companies. But I always try to refer people back to our reviews because I think you can't say it better than like a former client or family member because
Mhm.
they're, really delivering their experience with us. And I think that's the best way to, qualify, I guess, an organization that you're going to consider. So, um, I think our top priority is quality of care. I mean, there have been times where we've maybe turned down a client because for whatever reason, right? Maybe it's a location that's just too remote, to
Yeah,
staff a
you
caregiver.
can't say yes to everything because
Yeah.
operationally you won't be able to do it. It'll drag you down. It's funny because
Yeah.
you see consultants now. I don't know if you know Gabrielle Pempian, whatever her name is. She's in Southern California. And you have people that have been in this industry for 20 something years, and you have people that have just been in for the last 10 years. And those people go, oh, you're going to get your business from your estate planning attorneys, your fiduciaries. Yeah, everybody wants that. Everybody does. But and then these new consultants are teaching people how, it's okay to say no. I'm like, you have to actually teach somebody to say it's okay to say no. But
Yeah.
you're at the mercy of you're at the mercy of your referral sources. And if you say no once, then
Mhm.
sometimes then that's it. Then you go to the bottom of the pile. Um,
Absolutely.
so who are you? So your Family Matters, your how many branches?
So for Silicon Valley, we have one hub office in Campbell near the Prune Yard. We're opening an office in Redwood City. So we cover, all of Silicon Valley, San Mateo County, Santa Clara County, East Bay, Santa Cruz. And then we have an office in San Francisco, an office in Roseville, and then an office in San Marcos down in San Diego.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah.
realize if you are opening up an office in Marin, I have a great contact for you.
Okay. Okay, we'll connect after the meeting. We do have an office in Marin.
We have a question. Go
Sure.
ahead. Can you hear me?
Hi, I'm sorry that I joined late, and I don't know if you covered this already or not, but do you also work with people who are on Medicare and Medi-Cal who need in-home services?
Yeah, that's a good question. We get that pretty often. Unfortunately, we don't. Because we're non-medical, Medicare does not cover our services. Medicare is going to cover like your home health, your skilled nursing stays, but unfortunately not our services. For people on Medi-Cal, we generally are referring them to in-home support services.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, John.
Curious, yeah, do some of your in-home clients have problems managing their finances, managing their whatever, their bill paying, their books,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you partner with any resources for those kinds of clients?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we run into so many different scenarios, complex cases. I think the toughest ones that relate to that are going to be clients who don't have like a POA in place or don't have like family who's helping them navigate.
Right.
Those are kind of the toughest ones I think that we probably deal with, but we definitely refer um, those types of services because again, we try to stay in our lane, right, of caregiving, and so we do refer like fiduciaries would be, something that we would refer, or like we work with some different like care management companies and geriatric care managers who can help the families like navigate different things that they need help with, whether it's medical appointments, finances. So yes, if you have
Right.
contact information, any resources you all can provide. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
do you have like a list of kind of what you do and who to contact? Because that would be great too for us.
Yeah.
Um,
I
to
mean,
have,
I partner in fiduciaries, but my own core business is really in two areas. Like one is working with clients, either in in-home care or they could be at assisted living facilities with their kind of day-to-day financial decisions. And then the other
okay.
is if they're at a key decision point, maybe to leave their home and go into assisted living or to have in-home care to help them understand the financial impact of those choices and help them make those decisions. So
Yeah.
those are kind of the spaces I'm in. And so I'm glad to be a resource for you when you have clients in either of those circumstances.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I think sometimes people just don't know where to start. They don't know if they can afford to stay at home. They don't even know where to start looking. So we do work with different like placement companies as well. Um, but some people just don't know and don't know where to start. So I think that's a great service that you
Yeah.
offer.
I can
Avery
Okay.
has his hand up. Avery,
Oh, Avery.
Sorry, I was on the other screen and then I couldn't get to the unmute button. Well, thank you so much for the presentation. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the video. I just had a couple of questions. First one is you mentioned that because you're part of Care Scout, you have the discount for Genworth, MetLife, and I missed the other one.
John
What kind
Hancock.
of discount?
New York Life.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
What kind of discount would that be, amount or
Yeah.
percentage wise?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's usually anywhere from like 10 to 20%, depending on their Care Scout ID number. So when we have, let's say somebody reaches out and has one of those three policy or companies, their policies within one of those companies, we have them actually get their Care Scout ID number because there are different tiers, but generally speaking, anywhere from 10 to 20%. Um, and we'll help them navigate that, and we can let them know exactly what the rate is once they get that number to us. And essentially the network was created, owned by Genworth. It was created really to help people's long-term care money last longer.
Um, I'm gonna strongly disagree. That's the intent, but I can't find you now. But I know what the intent is, and it is good that they give the discounts, but cheaper is not less expensive. Sometimes you can't discount people because of the level of need. And so very seasoned companies that have more than enough business really don't want to deal with Care Scout because they don't want to be dictated on discounting. If you are building a business and you need the clients, then you want to work with Care Scout because they'll feed you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I mean, I've seen both sides of the coin here. And
Yeah.
I've been so I don't think it's very helpful for seasoned companies. I don't. I don't think it's really
Yeah, yeah, and I think we're I will say we are newer to the Care Scout network, so we are, feeling it out, if you will. Do we need to be part of the network to be a successful company? No, but we also, service a lot of clients who have those three companies, so we want to be able to, offer
sure.
them a rate. I mean, do we take a hit? Absolutely. It
But you
lowers
don't
our
have
margin.
to. If they have the policy and they come to you directly, you don't have to give them the discount.
Yeah,
Care
yeah. I mean, I
Scout.
think it's something we're still,
Yeah, no.
feeling.
I mean, if you go in the chat rooms and people are and seeing Karen to see what people are saying, it's it does fit a good. It's a good for some people, but Care Scout is just becoming a marketing funnel, and that's not what long-term care is about. It's not about a marketing funnel. It's about care. And
Yeah,
anyway, so I don't want to discount what you were saying and your partnership is just saying sometimes it's not the greatest benefit going through
yeah.
them.
No, I
I'm,
appreciate that because I think, which is out of my role, but I think there, will be some meetings on Care Scout at some point, but it's good to hear your insight because, um,
You're only
I think
discounting,
there's,
the margins are so thin in home care right now that you can't discount. You can't, if you discount the rate, you're discounting care, it's just
yeah,
so hard. So,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really if you have to build the business, honestly.
well, I'm a
yeah,
little confused. I need some clarity. So the three
yes,
insurance companies that you deal with, you're talking about long-term care insurance policies with them. Is that correct?
They
correct.
they
And those,
they funnel
yeah,
those care. I'm sorry, I don't want to speak
that's
for
okay.
you. They're funnel those for Care Scout primarily, but like your company, Family Matters, will take any long-term care insurance.
Yeah, I mean, if we were
Well,
not part of the Care Scout network, we can still,
well,
we
my
work with
my
all long-term care insurance providers.
my
So,
question is the mechanics of how this works. Let's say you get a long-term care insurance policy, you go on claim, and then you contact Care Scout or Family Matters then? What's the next step?
there's a couple. So some people come to us saying, "Oh, I was referred by Care Scout. This is my Care Scout ID number." But then others come to us, right, and have a Genworth, let's just say Genworth policy, but have never heard of Care Scout, and we're introducing the Care Scout, network to them, basically letting them know, "Hey, you're eligible for this discounted program, right, that
All
you're
right, so
already a part of."
the discounted
So,
program, that's your hourly rate that you do the home care for? Is that what you're
yes.
discounting?
So we're discounting the hourly rate.
Okay.
Yes,
All
that's
right.
correct.
All right. So these are on existing policies, obviously, because Genworth is no longer writing long-term care insurance policies right now. So New York Life is one of the ones, and well, even Genworth isn't doing so much now either. So these are going to be for established long-term care insurance policies that are already um,
Yes,
up and running. Okay.
exactly. Yes. And then I do want to clarify, we work with all long-term care insurance. I just specifically mentioned those three because those are the three part of the Care Scout network. But Jess, yes, I hear you loud and clear. Everything you're saying is,
Yeah, it's like it's kind of you want to teach people and you want to equip them,
yeah,
but really Amy and Brian, they're the experts. They're giving you a lot of information, but like they know what to do with that client once you refer to them. Like, I mean, when you're doing home care, you are connected to financial, legal, community-based, medical, assisted living, senior care ecosystem. So, if you're not connected, then then you're not in the game. You're just not. So, it's a lot of information. It's so much for families when they come into this space. Um, and you just want to know that you have trusted partner. And
yeah.
Amy seems extremely equipped.
And also, how do you select your caregivers and what's your source?
How do we like when we recruit new caregivers, how do we
Yes,
get our
yes.
people? Yeah, it's a good question. So we have two recruiting managers. A lot of our caregivers actually come from referrals of current caregivers on staff. We use other platforms like Indeed. Sometimes caregivers just find us through our website. Any other platforms that we use? Sometimes social media, LinkedIn.
We also have a sign outside the door.
Yeah,
that
we have a
registers
sign. We have a sign outside. But I will say, we do require at least a year of experience. I would say the majority of our caregivers on staff are career caregivers. So generally, when they're signing on with us, they usually have already had some sort of like private care experience, facility experience. We do have some caregivers on staff who maybe are previous CNAs and just have not renewed their certification. So I'd say we have a wide range of different skill sets, backgrounds. But I think the key piece is that we do that in-home assessment to really identify the specific needs. Like if we have a patient who's late stage dementia, we're not going to, pair them with a caregiver who has a year of experience and has never interacted with a dementia client in their life, right? That would just be a bad scenario. So we really try to identify the key needs, any preferences during that initial intake so that we are matching the correct caregiver with each client.
Okay.
So Amy, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Sure.
So are your caregivers W-2 or 1099 or
They're
what?
W-2. So yeah, so good question because I didn't mention that. We are a full service agency. So we're licensed, bonded, insured. Our caregivers are background checked. They are W-2 employees. So they're on our payroll. We manage everything when you sign on with us. So the family doesn't have to worry about, workers' comp or, the scheduling. Which, as you probably all know, because you've interacted with other home care agencies there, and we get this a lot, right? We're out marketing, we hear, oh, well, this other agency is $39 an hour. Well, for that reason, right? The caregiver, 1099, it's a referral agency, you get what you pay for, right? So we try to really educate the families so they understand what they're signing up for and why our rate is what it is. But that's a good question.
And your caregivers, so for long-term retention, do they have a path to, earning increased earnings over time?
Yeah. So we generally do annual increases for our caregivers. We look at different things. We look at like how long they've been with their client, their tenure with us. What else do you look at? So to caregiver.
We also have a caregiver mentor program.
Yeah.
That once they've like kind of proven themselves and we feel like they're at the level where they can train and lead other caregivers, we'll promote them so they're out there and coaching newer caregivers who have a lot of good potential, but maybe they just need to work on their interpersonal skills a little bit or strengthen some of their dementia training or dementia skills and things like that.
Yeah, so there's a path to promotion and increased earnings. Is there a minimum hours that you retain people? Your caregivers, do they have like a 40-hour work week? What is it?
I would say, right, because caregivers can work for any agency. There's no rule saying they can't work with Family Matters in a second agency. And I think it comes down to pay and scheduling, right? And I would say the majority of our caregivers want a full-time schedule, 40 plus hours per week. So,
Yeah, because if it's W-2, that would make sense. If they're
yeah,
contract, they could work for more than one agency. But if it's W-2, I would be exclusive if that was me.
yeah. So, I mean, that, to keep our best caregivers, because, right, we lose clients, people pass away, people move to assisted living, that's our primary focus amongst our staffing team is really making sure our best people have consistent work and are happy with their pay. So, we have caregivers who've been with us 10 plus years, and then we have caregivers, right, who started last week, and that's just kind of how the business, um, works. But I mean, I think we have a lot of key things in place to retain our people the best we can, given how this industry goes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think
And
it's
even care managers, we do, I think one other thing we didn't talk about is like the layer of care management that our company has. I know, and Jess probably knows this, there's home care companies out there, right? They get the business, they staff the case, and you never see them again because they're not following up with in-person visits, they're not updating care plans, they're not communicating regularly with the families. But we actually have a care management team who focuses on those things. So at minimum, we do at least one in-person visit a month. We try to update the care plan quarterly unless we hear that, there's a more immediate update. So we do have protocols in place. And, with those home visits, we're also recognizing the caregivers. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone out and have brought a $25 gift card to a caregiver, thanking them for, helping Mrs. Smith and, having a successful start of care. It's those little things, that I think really like help us wrap our arms around our people. And, we do that really well.
you just hit on a lot of things that I think that the industry grew into. Like we would have a plethora of caregivers. They did their job. Nobody thanked them, and like they should have. Um,
Yep.
and the fact, but one of the things that you said that I think is like one of the most important things that other people wouldn't understand is if you have like a 1 year minimum of the caregiver that has experience, because when I started it was 2 years. We have such a shortage where I live that like, especially leading up to and COVID, it was like 6 months. And now you really don't have to have any experience. You just have to have a beating heart. And you can't really teach people home care. Like they can get some experience in assisted living setting, and I think because it's more supervised, ongoing, but home care is tough. So you shouldn't be allowing anybody that doesn't have at least a year experience somehow into
Yeah.
that's one of the important differentiators that I heard you guys say today. Because a lot of everything that you're saying, a lot of the companies say, but but you have to have some of these minimum standards. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what people don't understand, the difference, that there's,
Yeah.
that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Avery,
That's
I
really
think you
where
had oh, sorry. Avery, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, mine was slightly unrelated, or on a different topic. You were talking about how you train specifically for dementia care. Do you follow any specific methods or techniques?
Could probably
Anything?
attest to that.
So that's where our All's Better program comes in that Amy mentioned earlier. That's been approved by the Alzheimer's Association. There's basically two portions to that. There's the online training itself that introduces dementia as a whole and common tactics and techniques they can use to navigate situations. So things like redirecting clients, seeing if they have any unmet
Show you
needs,
it's not gonna, it's our
um,
app. Oh, it's better. Can't really see it though.
trying to figure out root causes and eliminating them, things like that. And then on the other side of it, you have um, basically target lessons, which are short videos that show the right and wrong way to navigate specific dementia behaviors. And the neat thing about that is that it allows us to adapt on the fly as a person's dementia progresses, right? So let's say that um, a new behavior shows up for a client, they start to wander or they start to refuse bathing a lot. We can just find the lesson for specifically those two videos, show them to the caregivers, show them to the family members, and it'll show them how to navigate those situations, and then reinforce other techniques that show up that they would have been introduced already in the introduction online training, like redirection, or even trying tricks like making the shower warmer or the bathroom warmer, but making out the everything else outside the bathroom colder. So they want to kind of navigate to the warmer places. And that will kind of trick them into um, just subconsciously getting to the habit of then undressing and getting into the shower once they hear the water running. Things like that.
And I think the program has been very successful for that reason because, if you put anyone in front of a 3-hour training online video, they're not going to retain the information. But I think when it's real time with something they're challenged with, we're actually able, that video he's mentioning, the targeted lessons are literally sent through a text and they can open up the link and get the specific information on how to troubleshoot. So it's been really, really effective for us. And then it actually has AI. So if there's something that the training doesn't already entail, it'll pull it from
The Alzheimer's Association database itself in a closed loop, so there's no hallucinations. So,
That's very helpful. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I know Julie will put it in the bulletin, but would you mind putting both of your contact information in the chat? That would be very helpful if you could, please.
Thanks, post office. I love you, Amy.
And does DSS oversee you?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of our caregivers are registered home care aides through the Department of Social Services, and we're a licensed agency in California.
and then we also do our own reference checks in-house as well. And then circling back about what Jess mentioned earlier about just making sure that our caregivers have experience. It's really important that we do that in-person in-person orientation and training too, because then we can just verify that each caregiver, when we interview them, they actually have the skills that back up what they said, right? So we go over and make sure that we know their skill levels for like bedbound care,
Hoyer lift,
wheelchair transfers using gait belt and all those things. And we basically have an open door policy where, let's say we have a caregiver who maybe in the beginning they were just really good at companionship, they can help with personal care, but now they feel like they're ready for the next level and helping out with more physical needs like wheelchair transfers. They can always make an appointment to come inside and I'll go through training with them one-on-one until they feel confident and ready to proceed and help clients with that. I've even had family members come reach out to us to have us train the family members as their clients have progressed through their stages as well.
And we also, one thing I think we do well too is as I mentioned, we work with different hospitals and skilled nursing facilities within the different locations that we service. And if we do have a patient discharging, we'll work with the discharge planning team to schedule an on-site training before the patient's discharge with the physical therapy, occupational therapy team, so that our caregiver gets to meet the patient. They work together before discharge. So that also helps set things up for success.
Any more questions?
I just want to
Go
say,
ahead, Jessica.
I don't have any more questions. I just wanted to say appreciate it again. We've actually had some other people that have had some home care and they were authentic and stuff like too, but you definitely gave a good presentation and overview and
Thank you.
exude confidence.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad I didn't bore anyone. And if I did,
No, very substantial, and we learned new things.
Oh,
which
good.
that is the gold right there.
Good.
And the one thing that comes to my mind is that you may have, you mentioned it a little bit, Brian, but it's hard to find caregivers, right? With the right amount of experience that you need. Do you have like a entry level internship type situation maybe where you can bring people in and train them how you want them?
Yeah, I think, one thing we will do is, we do have clients who start with us and maybe just need like companionship or transportation or light housekeeping, right? There's no like personal care needs. And honestly, those things come down to just like a person with a good personality, who's social, who's reliable. So, I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. And if we feel like the person fits our culture and would be a good representation of our company, we're not going to turn them down because there is a place for them. And
So
then they
you can
can,
have sorry to interrupt, but you can have caregivers that are specifically skilled at different sets of skills, right? Some are better at ADLs than others, and some are better at cooking,
yeah. Yeah, and we actually, each caregiver within our like database has their own profile, and each person is tagged. Each caregiver is tagged with their specific skill set. So if they have Hoyer lift experience, tag. If they work with pets, tags, right? So our staffing team has an easy way to, filter through when we're trying to identify somebody. But I will say our staffing team in general has been with us a long time, so they kind of already have that one-on-one experience with each of our caregivers. But that is, another way we're able to identify the different skill sets through the profile.
What about foreign languages? Do you have
Good
caregivers for different
question.
ones?
Yes. So our number one language request is usually Mandarin. And then we usually get a request for the different like Indian dialects, I would say is our second probably language request, sometimes Spanish. So the short answer is yes, we do have people on staff who speak those different languages. It comes down to timing, availability, location of services. So it really just depends, on when they're getting started and who's available. One thing we have been successful at is, let's just say the patient needs to start pretty immediately. We can start with who we have who's, a fit. Maybe they don't speak the language. And then we can actually, our recruiting team can do like a specific post for that, like looking for a caregiver in San Jose, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 12-hour shifts, Mandarin speaking. And so then we can actually recruit for that specific need.
And of course, we're being very transparent with the person before they sign on with us about this whole situation, constant communication, giving updates as well.
Yeah.
So they don't feel like they got baited into signing with us. But
Midline has a question. How much does an entry level person make?
Oh, our caregivers. Yeah. Probably. I will say we look at, one thing we do look at is the length of the shift. So we generally pay more if someone's working a 4-hour shift, because in order for consistency, they generally are going to want like at least $25 an hour. And then for shifts that are longer than 9 hours, the caregiver's also getting paid time and a half. So we take that into consideration too. So honestly, it's like a case by case, but I'd say like our pay range is anywhere from like 22 to probably 27 per hour, give or take.
it just depends on a bunch of different factors. Also, like the difficulty of the case, if they need a lot of physical help, and they also have dementia. On top of that, since it's a high case, we'll charge more for it, and then we'll also have to find a more skilled caregiver and pay them more.
Yeah, and they should be paid more.
So we try to parallel like the client rate, with what we're going to have to pay the caregiver, right? Because we want to hit certain margins and we want the caregiver to be consistent. So it's down to different things.
And what cities? That was my other question. What
Yeah.
cities are you in?
Yeah. So I'm going to say the counties, if that's helpful. So, Santa Clara County, so like all of San Jose, San Mateo County. So I actually cover San Mateo County. So it's going to be like Mountain View up through the peninsula. So up through San Mateo, Burlingame, Daly City. If it's like South San Francisco or through San Francisco, it would be our other office that's just primarily like focused on San Francisco. And then we also service Santa Cruz County. So all the areas in Santa Cruz, East Bay, and then East Bay. So, and depending on the length of the shift, if it's a 4-hour shift, like in Hollister, might not be doable. But again, we're definitely transparent with the family if it's something we're not sure about.
Thank you. Good information.
Yeah.
You guys definitely need to check into the Certified Senior Advisor Group. I think you can do each other some good. I
Okay.
sent you an email on that. Julie and I both are members, and either one of us can give you the details on it. But I think you need to look into it a little bit. I think you'd be
Okay.
surprised.
Yeah, great. That's great information. Thank you for that. And then what I can do following this call, I can also send out just like our digital brochure, our home care guide. We have a brochure on the All is Better dementia training, and also our veterans program. So I'll get those one-pagers out so you have, that digitally. I know sometimes that's easiest. And then anything you want to send over to us regarding your group, that would be great. But I'd assume we're going to be on the attribute now. Is that correct with your
Oh,
email?
yes.
Okay.
You're those now.
Okay, I actually saw, last thing I'll leave you guys with, I saw that Tammy is gonna be speaking on her book, and is that
Yeah,
actually
Tammy Asia.
we know Tammy, so she knows her book right here. So we're definitely a Tammy fan.
Wonderful. That's amazing.
I'm actually
We've
doing
actually
a
had to.
speaking event with her coming up in June at one of the assisted living communities. So
we'll probably see you there.
We've actually had to move her into September, so she won't be coming up next month. But we just did that this week, and
okay.
there was some crisis, and she was good enough to do the switch. So
Okay, good.
But she is in our network for sure. So, yeah, definitely. All right. That has been such fabulous information. And like I mentioned before, new information, which we love to get every single week. Anybody else have anything they want to share? All righty, everybody. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Family Matters.
next week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next week is going to be NAPO, National Association of Professional Organizers. It's going to be a pretty good one, so you might want to sit in on that.
Is that what Jaylene, Skip?
Pardon me?
Jaylene?
I don't know.
No,
Julie,
Susan.
Julie, who do you have for it?
No, we're familiar with them. We just did a survey for the NAPO organization.
Well, they're all over the place. I mean, they're big.
NASM is big. NAPO is not very big. They're kind of smaller, but they can do some intense cases.
We'll see.
All right, everybody.
Skip, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Anna usually does the caregivers conference in September, which is every oh, that's right. You would have her on a Wednesday. Sorry. Yeah. But we should be getting people at the caregivers conference, which is every Saturday in September. So I'm guessing Anna will be on a Wednesday then. Tuesday, I'm sorry.
Well, Senior Agenda and SourceWise would be the ones to check on that. I don't have the information yet, but it's
I think that's in August.
Well, yeah.
September. It's been September.
They do it. It's twice a year, I believe, don't they?
I go in September.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Call SourceWise or Senior Agenda. They'll have the information.
Hey, Amy, you guys are still here. So do you guys ever do community outreach and events, like, because we're having an event in June. AO 50 is, we're having an event at the Campbell Community Center.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah.
So we're actually in May, we are going to be part of the Mountain View Senior Center Senior Resource Fair. We're also going to be at the Case Management Conference, American Case Management Conference in Tahoe coming up in May. So yeah, we try to join as much as we can. I mean, part of my role has transitioned more into like marketing and networking and business development. So I'm trying to headline a lot of those things.
You know Larry Hayes, I believe, don't you? With Active Over 50. Amy?
I'll send you the information for Larry and Active Over 50. And then we're probably gonna get and everybody's still here, so I'm just gonna say it now. Okay. So the barbecues and brews that we talked about last week with the Housing Industry Foundation. Yeah. So their fundraiser is barbecue and brews. It's in the bulletin. It's on May 30th. I'm gonna get a sponsorship. It's a table, basically. We're gonna have it as all things SRES, CSA, all things that we do. So I'll have, as soon as I harden up this week, I'm getting with Lauren to harden up the details on how that sponsorship's gonna work. Because it's a huge event downtown San Jose on May 30th, barbecue and brews.
What time?
Well, the event's all day long.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's all day long. And it's so it'll be, probably, I don't know.
I think it's 10 to 4.
Yeah, well, no, it goes till nighttime too. Because it's a barbecue association sanctioned event. So there's major barbecue teams coming to do the competition. I was going to do the competition, but then when I found out who was going to be in the competition, I was like, oh, never mind. Not this time. It's going to be huge. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about the opportunity for us to have a sponsorship. Oh, yeah. So that's the other thing. I'm probably going to get SCORE involved in all of that too. So I'll let everybody know. So anybody who's interested in participating for all things promoting SRES and our business of seniors, working with seniors, we're going to be able to be in front of a huge community gathering at this event. And anything else, you guys? All righty. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here. You guys have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.